All right, jeez. Let's get shit done.
I think it's time to blow this scene. Get everybody in the stuff together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
All right, let me try to explain this in a way that makes sense. So, the concept of this assignment is somebody cooks a meal, records an audio recording, and I try to replicate said meal completely independently of any further clarification or assistance. The person who cooked the original meal in which I replicate is Nate Shanban, a culinary student and a good friend of mine, who took a significant portion out of his day to help me with this. So for that, I'm very thankful. And I think it turned out lovely. So here's what happened.
Okay, we are starting the cooking video. You should start all cooking with this with washing your hands. That is how you always start. You need to make sure it's clean so that you're not getting any bacteria, any just shit in your food that you don't want.
We begin the cooking experience. I have an audience, which is a lot more intimidating than I thought it would be. I don't know, this is just gonna live here. All right, shoot. Well, let's get down to business here.
So, today we will be making steak, potatoes, and green beans. So we're gonna start with the potatoes. So good. So you're just gonna wanna take the peeler, go back and forth, or not back and forth, just straight forward, getting all of the skin off without leaving any of it. It should look a pale yellow, and once you peel the skin off, it should be slightly wet because you're peeling the skin off.
Stop, guys. You're embarrassing me.
So the next thing that we're gonna be doing is the green beans, because I like to get all of my prep work done at the same time, because once the steaks go on, they are going to cook so insanely fast. So next thing I like to do is green beans, and for that, we're gonna be baking them on a sheet. Now for the steak. So, steak is very, very good. It is a very, very wonderful meat. I enjoy the taste of steak very much. So, what I like to do to make the steak flavor shine out even more, or as much as possible, I tend not to over season it. I like to do salt and pepper, garlic and onion, and not even that much of it, because the steak flavor is what I want to preserve with the salt and pepper. So I like to do, let's see. Same with the green beans, just shakes slowly to cover it. You shouldn't hear huge gushing, you shouldn't see huge piles of salt. So to do that, I grab some cooking olive oil spray. And
We encountered a couple of issues. For starters, there were some, not many, but some vital pieces of information that I did not have. I think this is because for Nate, this is so second nature, this is so fluid, that he didn't even think that I wouldn't know. I would like to clarify, this is my first time ever cooking. Like, I've cooked one other time with an uncle of mine, and other than that, it's just been like in between. I help out cutting rice grains into 1/8 and sprinkle them like little salts. Like I don't cook. So this was an experience to try to put the pieces together in a concept that I have very little experience in. Of course, this relates so heavily with our class concept of symbols and how we use symbols to communicate in ways that seem so natural. But when somebody who isn't a part of your culture or subculture is introduced to said symbols, it's so foreign. For example, a lot of the terminology that Nate used was foreign to me, and I could tell that at a certain point he started to use things that he knew that I would understand. That is because Nate is a very thoughtful person. If it was somebody else, he would have continued to use this jargon for the rest of the 40-minute long cooking instruction, and I would have been more lost than I was. So I do think that it is because I had such a great partner in creating this meal that I was able to do it so effectively. That being said, a lot was lost in translation, most of which was user error on my part. Because I'm so experienced in consuming and interpreting these symbols, they were lost on me. It was overwhelming. I felt like I didn't know what to do, even though it was so clearly laid out before me. There were often times in which I would look behind me and see Nate and Will and recognize, oh, I'm doing something stupid right now, and they're not telling me what I'm doing. And I would get self-conscious. I would try to recognize what I was doing wrong, and I would get in my head about it, despite me knowing I'm doing exactly what the video's telling me. But something about it is off, and I'm so blind to that invisible symbol because I've never seen it before. And naturally, with such a barrier, nothing went wrong.
Where's the fan? I didn't know there was a fan. Event's like 2 minutes. I looked for a fan. You looked for a fan.
Okay, but it was only that once. It was only that once. So
Eric's gonna cook after this. So we don't really have to do that. And so at this point, you kind of just gotta wait. You just gotta wait for everything to go.
Come on, man. For why? For what reason?
Yeah. You're gonna stack up smashed potatoes over here.
in all honesty, doing an activity such as this has given me new perspectives on past and current concepts. For example, Nate's ritual, his natural flow, you could say, left me in the dust. Everything he did while cooking this dish seemed so foreign, especially in its framing. Despite us sharing a culture, his subculture was so distant from mine. This may be a stretch, but similar to how the framing of the Nosarama culture seemed so foreign, despite it being my culture, the majority of its foreign nature came from framing. If I were able to clarify, or even watch Nate cook his own food, my experience would have been so much better. It would have felt less like culture shock and potentially even comfortable. The change of framing is a change of perception, which is a change of experience.
And we're gonna check the green beans.
The green beans?
Fuck. Yeah, the green beans.
The oven was just beeping, reminding him that it's on.
Green beans. I remembered the green beans. Dog. You know, again, I would like to emphasize for the viewers of this video, which will potentially be my whole class, all 10 of them, including Julian and Ned. Never try things with people ever. Never try anything new. I repeat, stay in a stagnant state for the rest of your life. Because this shit is ass. I feel so terrible.
Oh, you're doing
In so many ways. I feel so bad.
You're doing okay.
I'm doing
You're doing fine.
my best at something I've never
The
done
cook
before.
says you're doing fine.
So let's
The
shut our
shithead who you invited
yappers.
over.
I'd like to bring up a particular video from, I think it was week six, social interaction and performance. An example of social interaction used in the video was a student being called upon not knowing the answer. In my case, I didn't have a friend to whisper the answer in my ear. I was just left floundering in an uninformed, unfinished, partially structured social performance.
Right, Lithead. You're weird. Why is everyone staring at us?
In some twisted form of social interaction, I labeled Nate as my teacher, as someone who I can rely on for answers and solutions. But when I looked to him with the longing for assistance, I was met with a stern face and tight lips. Despite him never actually fulfilling his role as teacher, rather than from the video, of course, I was left in shock that he had broken the role that I had placed upon him, the role that I had set for him. Further than the video, and independently of himself, his role was my doing. I placed that upon him, but it felt so strange to feel betrayed when he didn't fulfill something he didn't know he had to fulfill. The breaking of my standard, or norm, by Nate was only shocking to me because I went into our social interaction with an expectation that could not be met. With that said, I now can walk and go forward recognizing that not everyone maintains the role I set for them. Not everyone maintains the role I expect them to be in, preparing me for the inevitable gentle disappointment. Furthermore, I find it so interesting the way Nate, Will, and I were socialized impacted this experiment. Well, this activity. Nate, who was raised in a great home with loving family, with loving friends, and has always been around a kindness and has been there for people, the same people have been there for him, was so willing to help me despite knowing he shouldn't. He showed compassion for my effort and empathy for my failure. He made efforts to assist and help despite knowing that he shouldn't, all due to the community of support that he has learned from. Also, as someone who has always received help when I've needed it, it felt so strange to feel adrift in my own home with peers so close by. My society and my socialized self had experienced a break in norms, making me feel uncomfortable and strange, similar to what we saw in class when someone's natural speaking distance was violated. A great resource that I used to get the diction to talk about socialization was the crash course about socialization in week 4, just for reference. Finally, I'd like to talk about Goffman's article, Presentation of Self in Everyday Life. This article was hugely helpful in allowing me to gather the data and diction that I needed to create this analysis, and it gives me an opportunity to bring up one or two more things before I call it. The concept of performance was pertinent in this activity, to say the least. I felt like a circus animal, confused and scared, surrounded by prying eyes. There were so many disruptors in the form of misinterpreted instructions or burnt hands that it led me to feel like I was being looked down upon, despite my peers simply onlooking my reality rather than my hoped reality. This form of social interaction, especially with its disruptions, is not one that I could freely recommend, free of conscience, of course. My worry about impression management reveals the deeply performative nature of human social life. Okay, taste test active. This is Nathaniel's. A crisp pink, crisp mouth watering. This is mine. Not that. So let's get Guillermo over here. And we'll all take a little munch. Wait a minute.
Should I blindfold myself? And
No, you'll know. It's not the point. You'll know because this one's still blazing hot, and that one is better. So I'm gonna take a yawn.
still blazing hot and that one is better.
No, that's like the fat piece.
A little cool, naturally. That is a bomb steak. That is a bomb.
Was that edible?
Yeah.
That is
Oh wow.
So
Look
good.
at that. Look. Dude.
that is so good.
Oh my gosh.
All right, you ready? You ready to have a piece of the stone steak? Not bad.
That piece you just gave me, was that Harrison's? Mad impressive.
Not bad.
Yeah. I think it is cooked a little unevenly
Yes, it is.
because. No? Maybe I'm tripping.
I think it is. I think it's cooked the slightest but unevenly.
No, you're looking.
Not bad.
Yeah. That's a very edible steak.
Going into this activity, my expectations were low. Not low in the sense of I thought I was going to do poorly or I thought it was going to be a bad time. I didn't think much of it. I was like, okay, I'm going to get in there. I'm going to listen to the audio recording. That'll be it. I didn't even think about recording this beforehand because I was like, I thought that I knew exactly what was going to happen. I was going to listen to the audio recording. I was going to have to rewind it a couple of times, but then it'll be fine. In the end, Nate's recording was 40 minutes, and mine was a little over an hour. So it took me about 30 more minutes than it took him to do the exact same thing, simply because of what I have done in the past. Simply because that's not something that I have had experience doing. But luckily, I had a great group of guys helping me out. My buddy Will Worthy was there just to cheer me on. Nate was there to help me if I started fire, which very nearly happened one too many times. And all in all, I'm very happy with the experience. In hindsight, there are definitely things that I have done differently to set up the activity better or to have a better experience myself. But in the end, I can't change much. And that's all I got for you. West Side.
Wait for everything to go.
Come on, man. Why?
Turn
For what reason?
Yeah. I'm gonna smack up smashed potatoes while I do this.
Fuck. This is bullshit. Wasn't even any smoke.
Hey, get your ass back in the kitchen. You have to clean. You have to make sure nothing else burns. Go see the green bean. Turn the fan off.
It's on! I hate you!